N7day is right around the corner, literally tomorrow, actually. So, I know Mass Effect isn't the thing that I mainly talk about on my channel, mainly because it's it's controversial in a lot of ways. A lot of strong opinions surround it. So for the most part, I only talk about the things that are very specific, the big holidays, and this is a huge celebration. So of course it's something I want to talk about, and later on down the line I would love to talk about what makes me love Mass Effect more and get more in depth with the characters, but it's not the time for that right now. So N7day, I really think that this is going to be a big one. Most years we kind of just get concept art, or some years we got some empty promises and some platitudes saying it's not over, things are going to continue, which luckily turned out to be true. But for a long time it was kind of just every year they told us one thing and said, no, it's happening, without actually showing us anything. It's been really nice to be able to say definitively, yes, something's happening with Mass Effect. Last year we had that as well, and kind of like what everyone was thinking, we got a poster. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a cool poster, and the poster had Geth on it, which shows us the Geth are going to be involved to some extent. I mean, it was nice. It was a big moment for us. But for our big year celebration, the poster gave us a few hours worth of things to talk about, and kept us along for the full year. For the most part, I do think we'll be getting a lot of that again. We'll get a blog post talking about how fun it's been and how much they appreciate our support over the year. We'll absolutely get some old concept art that may or may not matter, might not be in use. And the BioWare Gear Store is going to have an amazing sale. Behind me I've got some merchandise that I have gotten from the BioWare Gear Store. It's high quality, it looks amazing, and during those nearly back-to-back N7day then Black Friday sales, you can pick up some pretty good stuff. But it's been a few years now that we've had little tidbits stringing us along, and I don't think that a gear shop sale is what all of us are looking for right now. But I do have a lot of hope that this year things are going to be a bit different for us. I think that this is the year that we might actually get an official confirmation, maybe not a game name. They don't want us thinking about this too much before Dragon Age 4 comes out, or Dragon Age Dreadwolf. BioWare makes two gigantic RPGs that people really love, and between the two of them, they don't want them stealing each other's spotlight. So when it's time for Dragon Age, most of the advertising goes to Dragon Age. But a reveal on what this game actually is, maybe even a title, I don't think takes away from Dragon Age too much, especially now because both franchises are big enough that they really can thrive on their own. I don't think that the existence of Mass Effect hurts Dragon Age or vice versa. So I think we could get a name reveal, but mainly I'm thinking we might get a setting. Between some old things that have been talked about, Mike Gamble is in charge of the future of Mass Effect, whereas Mac Walters is in charge of the trilogy. Gamble has shown us before his interest in the franchise as a whole. He showed us that when he was researching for Mass Effect 5, he researched the trilogy's art book and Andromeda's art book, because they both matter. The trailer itself showed both galaxies, mentioned Arc 6, which isn't a thing we know about yet, and we saw who appears to be an older Liara. More recently, Gamble's teased us a little bit by posting emojis and reacting to stories about how, in the real world, the Milky Way and Andromeda will collide in billions of years, and way longer than any of our lifespans. But the point of that is that he's engaging with that specific thing, and that's not like a new scientific discovery. If it was new, then of course everyone will be talking about it. But we've known that for a while. So the fact that he's talking about it now, in the weeks coming up to N7day, are what got me kind of interested in it. And from the concept, we've seen the Mudskipper, which is very clearly an Andromeda-styled vessel, but also belongs to Liara. We've seen planets that look more in line with the kinds of planets we've seen the Angara living on. And we've seen Angara silhouettes on some concept art. So I think this N7day is the day that we finally get a reveal that this game will be linking the Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way Galaxy somehow. It gets really theoretical here, but I'm pretty confident that we're getting a time skip from Andromeda. Basically, Mass Effect Andromeda happens, and then Mass Effect Andromeda 2, 3, 4, however many, basically get skipped. We don't get those games. But they still happen. Or at least most of them. There are a few things in Andromeda that were set up, like Ryder having to handle the situation with the Ket, or the Angara figuring out their origins and having to go forward from that, and we got a human homeworld, but all the homeworld weren't ready yet. The next arc was coming. The Quarian arc had something wrong with it, and they warned everybody to stay away, except for the Quarians. Basically, the council races couldn't come to see what was going on. All those plot lines, I'm guessing, are going to be resolved. To some extent. I'm sure the Ket will still be a looming threat, but the immediate Ket war will probably be cleared out. The human homeworld will be thriving. Other people will have homeworlds. Character arcs are probably going to be cut short. Liam was kind of painting himself to be a better head than Addison, and I think that he's just going to be taking over her job, and she's older now. Tan was building up to a whole sympathetic, like, he doesn't want to be in charge and everyone hates him for being in charge, but he never asked for that position. And I think they wanted us to, throughout the course of a few games, learn to trust him. That's gone. I don't think we're getting anything with Tan. But I do think that we'll get cameos and references to an older writer who has now been through a lot. Shepard, I mean, he's dead. And I don't know how they're going to handle the endings. I think they're going to try to broad brush everything and make it so that whatever ending you picked, that's what happened. But regardless, Shepard is dead. It's been 600 years since the trilogy, and you don't live that long. Humans don't live that long. So, he's gone. But Ryder, I think that Ryder's still going to be in the game, and she won't be the same, like, young, eager kid that she was. Now Ryder has been through a whole journey, and they've grown a lot, I'm sure, and I don't know in what ways. What I'm hoping is, if I'm right here, we'll get books that kind of link up and tell us what Ryder's journey was all about, what happened while we weren't playing as Ryder. And from there, Mass Effect 5 comes in, and Ryder has reconnected Andromeda and the Milky Way. And Ryder is some kind of prolific figure, but we're playing as a new character, and there's some new threat. Maybe we're taking care of the Ket, because they're coming our way. Maybe there are some rogue Reapers who survived, even if you picked to destroy somehow. Whatever the new main threat is, I'm very confident that it's going to include Andromeda and the Milky Way, and nothing that has been promoting Mass Effect 5 has ever contradicted that. And the writers have consistently teased at Andromeda being a part of this game. Even just from the trailer saying Godspeed, and people claiming, like, yeah, that reminds me of when the Tempest took off, Gamble was pretty... I mean, he directly said that it was intentional. So, we're supposed to be thinking about Andromeda going into this game. I also think that there was a lot of groundwork laid in those characters, and the writers don't want to trash all that work, and even if we skip some of it and then get it later in books, they don't want to trash the potential of all of those characters into being who they are. They have some excellent growth shown that they probably want to capitalize on and actually show us where it was meant to go, even if we don't take the journey with them anymore. I have very little doubt that that's the direction we're going. I just don't know what the new threat will be, who the new main character will be, what they'll be like, if they'll even be like a set species, if we're going to have to be human. For me, I feel like RPG stories tend to be stronger when you pick male or female, but not like all of the different playable races. Multiplayer is great for that. If there's a multiplayer storyline, that's great for that. But for the single player story, I do hope that whether we're human, Turian, Asari, Solarian, I don't care. I just hope we are one set, because the culture of all the races in the franchise, but also your origin, your lifespan, how much time you have to do these things, the way other people interact with you, all of that is very dependent on your race, and that isn't perfect, but it's a reality of Mass Effect. There are characters who will treat you differently based on who you are, and you could have some flavor text in there, but I don't think they can properly convey that, and what it'll do is risk weakening all of the companion relationships. Things like Shepard and Garrus can't really happen if Shepard could be anyone from anywhere. It works because Shepard is, aside from some personality things you pick, and male or female, Shepard is a pretty set character. They don't deviate too much from the baseline Shepard. Outside of, like, in the heat of the moment, Shepard's personality is actually pretty consistent between Paragon and Renegade playthroughs. Which is interesting because I know it seems like somebody who's willing to push someone out of a window and somebody who'll do anything to find peace should be very different, but Shepard's just not. And it's okay, because we have these huge memories and these very warm memories of who Shepard was in our playthrough, but we also have these relationships that Shepard has that we can all agree, whether you romance Garrus or not, he is Shepard's best friend. And whether you romance Tali or not, she is a very close figure to Shepard. So we have those consistent relationships. And I think that those could be cheapened if they brought in who the next main character is, but we'll see. We probably won't see tomorrow. I don't think this N7day is going to talk too much about mechanics of the game. I think at most we're going to get official confirmation Milky Way and Andromeda are linked 10 to 50 years. Anywhere from a decade to half a century have passed after Andromeda. Andromeda's flourishing a little bit, but there are problems. Or maybe they're flourishing, but they're coming back to the Milky Way, and that's what causes problems. I don't know. But that's about the most I'm guessing we're going to see. Maybe we'll get official confirmation that all the endings matter. I don't think they're going to canonize one. I heavily doubt they would canonize Destroy, especially because we now know that Geth are somehow a part of the game. And I mean, they showed that to us from the very beginning. The constellation in the sky was a Geth in the first trailer, and then the poster, the crater, is shaped like a Geth. Or who knows, maybe they're doing Destroy, but the Geth are back with a vengeance because now Shepard genocided all of them. I don't know. But only time will tell, and I don't know if tomorrow is the day we're going to find it out. Hopefully they don't go that route, but who knows, they might just do it because it's the easiest path to go. There's as far as like effort and like really trying to think about the story, you don't really have to put much thought into it that way, and maybe they do just want to play it really safe right now and go for the easy things, and I don't blame them. I know that they took a risk and they did it relatively poorly. I like Andromeda, but it wasn't a risk well done entirely. So maybe this time they're going to try to be as safe as possible and not take any risks, and then that's where we're going to go. I think we would turn out all the worse for it, but I hope that it is a great game, even if that is the route they take. Sadly, I don't think N7day is going to answer all that much for us. I think we have a couple more years to wait for that. But the sales are going to be great. BioWare Gear Store sales are going to be amazing. The game could have a horrible story, and I would still at least find something that I like in it, and that's good. I would find a character or a theme or a plotline that I care about, but I could definitely see them tanking like the themes of the whole trilogy and like tanking the character journeys for the sake of playing it really safe. And I think that a lot of people at first would be kind of okay with it, but it's one of those things that would age really poorly when it's all looked at from like a bigger scope. And BioWare usually looks at the bigger scope, but since they've been taking risks that didn't pay off, I could very much see them looking at this small scope, just make them happy for now, don't worry about the big picture. And I don't think that's going to be good for us long term. So I hope that they're not doing that. It's possible. Again, time will tell. I hope that we have a great N7day, and I hope that it's not just going down that road. For now, I don't think we're going to get answers. So I will be back tomorrow night, just in case, sometimes they kind of drip feed information throughout the day. So I'll be back tomorrow night with a pretty late video, and that'll kind of wrap up the N7day hype for me. The published N7day hype. I guarantee that throughout the next week, small things are going to be clicking in my mind. I'll have all these random thoughts that come up. But I'll try to table those, and tomorrow collect as much as I can and share that with you so I don't have to make daily updates on this stuff. But I hope it's a lot of fun. And thank you for sticking with me. I know I typically do Fire Emblem stuff, so a lot of people here either don't know me or are surprised to hear what I'm talking about, but this is a huge game to me as well. So I had to talk about it on the game's holiday itself, which is tomorrow. But, preliminary holiday talks. Yeah. All right. That's really all I got for you today, but thank you so much, and until